All right. We are live. All right, everyone. As you're tuning in, I'm live with the Journey to $100 Million podcast. We are now doing a cool little different thing here. We're interviewing some amazing entrepreneurs from around the country. And today I am joined with Adrian Boysel. So, Adrian, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so give us a little bit of background on yourself, where you live, where you're from, and what you like to do, maybe hobbies, stuff like that. And then we'll get into some nitty gritty stuff.
So my name is Adrian Boysel, as you said. I'm from Sacramento, California, actually, born and raised here in NorCal. Been here my entire life, aside from 1 year when I lived in Chicago or south of Chicago. And it's been an amazing life here in Northern California. I've been kind of a creative guy my whole life, been an artist and been drawing. And I remember when I was a little kid, my stepmom told me, I don't know what you're going to do for a living someday, but I know it's going to have something to do with computers and art. And she couldn't have been any more spot on. I was probably 8 years old when she said that to me, and she planted that seed. And she did that a couple times for me in my life. And the other time was with my faith. And so those are the two big things about me that I like everybody to know, of why I'm still here on this earth, why I do what I do for a living. And what I'm passionate about is creative. The creative entrepreneurship is that's my passion. That's what's brought me here, as well as my faith. My faith is, when all the hard times have come, when all the valleys come, that's what always carries me through. So faith is a huge part. I'm not just speaking about Christianity or any type of religion. I just speak faith in general, of having faith. You hear about that in Think and Grow Rich and a lot of books. Faith is an essential element to success that you have to have. So that's a little bit about me. I started my first company in 2007, sold that in 2011, which is part of a story I'll tell you guys, kind of how that happened. And then founded a consulting company called Adrian Graphics LLC. And through that consulting company, I decided to start a marketing agency, because I helped a company while I was doing consulting go from 800 grand a year to 22 million. And so with that success, I decided, all right, it's time to open up an agency. Little did I know what I was walking into. Be careful what you wish for, right? And so all the moving parts that go behind building a team, running an agency, reporting, performance, ROI, tracking, strategy, fulfillment, operations, finance. I mean, just amazing level of complexity that goes into running a digital agency, from analytics and everything in between. I just didn't realize what I was walking into. Kind of like in my first business, you just go head first and just hope it works out well. And it did, but there was definitely some growing pains and some challenges and some speed bumps along the way. And I had to learn to overcome those. I got a lot of great mentors. That's really what has kind of carried me through my whole life, from at least my young adult life, from 17 until today. My life has totally transformed and changed because of mentors. So that's something I'm super passionate about now. And I've been building this agency now pretty consistently since about 2015, when I opened up my actual office location. So it's been about 6 years that I've been running the day-to-day of the agency, but I've been slowly moving my way out of the agency to be no longer the cog in the wheel, because where my heart is, where my passion is, what's become revealed to me through my faith journey, is that my purpose and mission and why I was put on this earth is to help at-risk youth and restore broken families. That is why I exist, what I'm here to do, and what I'm going after. So my first goal in that is 1 million at-risk youth. And all youth is at risk, especially with the education system that we have now in our country. But I want to be a creative mentor, teach people graphic design, web design, marketing, sales, motion design, video production, all the things that I've been doing for the last 15 years. I want to teach that and pass that knowledge on, and not just teach the knowledge of how to do it, but the actual art of building a business on that, the entrepreneurship side. So that's where my main passion is. That's where everything has been leading me. It's kind of been like the stepping stones, the ladder. And that company is called Instagraphics. I've already got a Facebook group with almost 300 members in there that I've literally, handpicked every single one of them. I didn't just do like some crazy automation, which I have a lot of automation going, but I actually handpicked every single one of those people that's in that group, and nice, for specific reasons. So I really want to kind of build a group of leaders, and then I'm going to kind of disciples, right? And then I'm going to put them out into the world and have them go mentor other people. So I have about 4 or 5 mentees right now currently that I've been helping for. One of them has been mentoring. I've been mentoring now since 2011. So I have some that are just now coming on board, that have been working at my office for 2 weeks. So just everything in between. So mentorship is really where my heart is at. That's the direction I'm going. I love teaching. I love speaking. I have an event series called Tag Talks Live that started in 2018. We did a couple events with Tom Bilyeu. So got a lot of different things and projects and things going on, TV show, stuff like that. But my main focus, the thing I'm putting the most of my energy into right now is Instagraphics. So that's where my heart's at.
Awesome, man. Well, that's interesting background and kind of journey to where you're at now. I'm pretty sure my mom said the same thing as your mom. So yeah, I was always into art and drawing and just making stuff. And then I got into computers, of course. And yeah, I wasn't sure how to put those things together myself. And we kind of ended up on similar paths, right? I started my first business in 2006 and, not knowing what the heck I was doing, of course, and doing websites and designing stuff. That was pretty much all I did.
Yeah.
And then Array Digital was started in 2017. So not too far difference there. So
there we go.
Really cool. Really cool. All right. Well, so you got a lot of different things going on. So you have the agency, but then you have these other initiatives that you're working on. I want to hear, I know we hear all about all that, and I'm going to share some stuff too. We can share links to, I guess, any of those additional things if you want as well. But
yeah,
you mentioned that there was a kind of a point, I guess, with the first agency or when you sold that.
Yeah.
What do you want to share with the audience that is going to be, you think it's going to help them, or something that's going to be kind of a groundbreaking moment for you, something you had to overcome or whatever?
So for 2021, after the tough year that we've had, right, in 2020, and I knew that the first part of the year was probably going to be challenging as well, I went into it with the thought process of the people that are going to not just survive, but thrive in this time are going to be doing things exactly like you and I are doing right now. So my word for the year, and I prayed on this, is collaboration. Collaborating with talented people who own agencies. I have attorney clients. I have clients in the contracting space. I've mostly worked in the home improvement space, but I have half a dozen attorney clients. So you and I collaborating, that's where the real true power is, that fellowship. And I just did a YouTube video about that. That's where I see a lot of potential in 2021 is for us to band together and be a lot stronger, combining our energies, our talents, our passions, and things like that. So that's kind of the big thing. But the second thing that I've really taken to heart through the mentorship and coaching, I spent $20,000 last year on a mentorship program with a guy named Nicholas Bailey. You might know who he is. With the $1 Billion Brotherhood. I'm part of that organization and group. And one of the big things that has really stuck out to me about that is good is the enemy of great, right? We say yes to too many things because we need the income. We don't want to pass up opportunities. And so we just try to scoop up. And then next thing you know, we're spread so thin that we no longer have enough time to really focus on and give our time and attention to things that really matter. And so for me, the things that really matter is at-risk youth and restoring broken families. And so if it doesn't align with that anymore, I have to say, you know what? Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your passion. Thank you for bringing this opportunity to me, but this is not a fit for me. Let me refer you to somebody, right? So I've been doing a lot of that, saying a lot more no's than I have yeses, because I've always been a yes guy. So learning how to say no this year has been my big thing. If it doesn't match up with what my mission is. So the executive producer spot that I just got for Be Great Show, which is a TV show, it's a social impact TV show, that aligns with what I'm trying to do, because I'm trying to bring public awareness to who I am as a person so that I can reach more at-risk youth. And a TV show that's streaming on a major network would be huge for that. So certain things like that. So Tag Talks Live, which is the event series I spoke about, which we brought out Tom Bilyeu. I actually just recently stepped away from that project simply because it was good, but it wasn't great. And the guy that I have a partnership with on that is an amazing human being, but he's going a different direction with it. And so it wasn't aligning anymore. And so I had to walk away from something I invested 2.5 years of my time, energy, and sweat, and all of that. So that's kind of the big thing. And it really applies to almost every area of life, not just in business. And so I've really tried to focus on having not balance, but rhythm in my personal life and my relationships, in my wealth, and in my health, because I've neglected my health being an agency owner, working until 2:00 in the morning, starting up again at 6:37, getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep all throughout my 20s, and sometimes pulling all-nighters, right? Just sacrificing the things that I shouldn't have And so I did the same thing in my early years when I was building that first company. It was called California Printing, or Cal Print. And what happened was I built this company literally from the ground up. No loans, no banks, no investors, no nothing, just bootstrapped the business right out of jail, to be honest. I wrote the business plan for that when I was in jail. I did a 30-day stint in jail because I took some advice from my dad that wound me up there, and that's a whole other story for another day. But I wrote my whole business plan in there, and I stuck to it. I built that company in 2.5 years to over 3,000 clients and over $500,000 in revenue. And then I was approached by a guy to buy my company, but he wanted to make me his business partner. Okay, you're going to be my partner, but my corporation is going to buy your corporation. We're going to take all the assets, and then we're going to give you legal support. We're going to give you accounting. We're going to give you sales resources. We're going to give you all the things that you're stressing over right now. We're going to give you that infrastructure and everything you possibly could ever need, all the resources. Here's your salary. I'm going to give you a big chunk of money for the company, and you'll be happy. Well, little did I know, he just wanted my formula because he's like, how is this guy going from 0 to 3,000 clients that fast? Like, what is he doing? And so as soon as he figured that out, what was the first, how valuable was I, right? So he thought it was processes and systems that I had created that gave me that momentum. But the truth was, it was me. I'm the one that created that momentum because it was the relationships that I had built with people and the experiences that I had given them. I sat down with people one-on-one as they told me their passions. They told me their stories, their losses, their failures, the economy crashing, them losing their houses, them losing their jobs in construction. They told me these things, and I not just sympathized with them, but I was able to tell that story in print through my design work and their printing. And I connected with them, and I listened to them, and I met them where they were at. And those experiences that they had got them to go, dude, I'm at this place here in town called California. This guy just designed my whole brand in front of me. This guy just designed my business card. He just designed my website. He just did this for me. And it just spread like wildfire because of that. Had nothing to do with my systems and processes. It was how I gave people an experience. And so he pushed me out by threatening me physically, verbally, all these things. And I signed my resignation to my own company after building that thing for 4.5 years. And so that was a really hard lesson for me because I had to walk away from this baby that I had built from nothing, that I thought was going to be my future, my big ticket. I was going to exit with 7-8 figures. It was going to be a multi-million-dollar brand across the country. And he gave me all these huge visions. Oh, we'll put a location here and here all over the US. And little find out, he just wanted to push me out of my business so he could figure out my secret sauce. So long story short, you have to be aware. I compromised on what was great for what was good, because I thought, oh, well, I could sacrifice for now for the bigger picture to be able to get this big picture vision. And the reality is I compromised on what I know I should have done. And in the end, I made some great money. Don't get me wrong. I had zero debt. I built that whole company, had zero debt, made a good income that whole time, got cashed out. I think he wrote me a check for like $28,000 or $38,000. Plus I got all my equipment paid for. I got all my debt paid off. Everything that I had, every liability was gone. And I had almost $40,000 in my pocket, right? So it wasn't a terrible experience after making 6 figures for those 4 years. I was like, hey, this is not bad. But it was devastating to lose that baby that I had built. And so I wrote a whole article on my blog about how to not get your business taken by a greedy investor. That's something that could be really valuable for people. And there's some lessons inside of there. But good is the enemy of great. And I really want to share that because just because it sounds good, you got to know if this doesn't align with what your main purpose and mission is, you got to say no.
Man, that's awesome. I love that. The great story. I mean, sounds like a terrible experience at the end, but yeah. I mean, when you start your company, you're building it. I mean, it's like you put everything into it, and
you do everything.
It's definitely like having a child. So. Yeah, but it's worse. It's more. It's harder than having a child. But so yeah, I could see where that would be kind of devastating to you, and people take advantage of people all the time. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are not looking out for your best interest. That's for sure.
I wasn't the only one he did that to. It ended up coming out. He did it to about 5 or 6 other print shops in town. Totally took advantage of him, and he ended up getting sued for millions of dollars and lost. And now has this huge settlement. So he got what was coming to him. But it really, over the last few years, one of the things I've realized, Kev, is that at the end of the day, life is happening for you, not to you. And if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be sitting here right now with you, right? Yeah. What happened, what I learned, if that had happened now, it would impact my 2-year-old daughter. It would impact my wife. It would impact my beautiful home. It would impact the 10 people that work for me. I was small. I was lean. I had 4 or 5 people at that time working for me. It happened at the perfect time. It didn't happen late, didn't happen early. It happened exactly on time. And so that experience really gave me knowledge at a really young age. I was only 24 when that happened, right? I'm 33 now. It was 9 years ago. And I've grown so much since then and made many more mistakes since then. That was a very valuable, just the learning lesson alone was worth 6 figures, because that'll never happen to me again. Just that alone.
No, that is 100%. Every failure or misstep is, you just got better, right? You just learn more. And then I also think too, on the flip side, a lot of people like to hold on to the things they did back when, or remember that time I did this, it was awesome. And for us, I know it's like, we're on to the next thing. Like that big sale you got 3 years ago, who cares? Let's move on to tomorrow, today, like what's in front of us right now. Yeah, that mistake I made, it's behind us. Let's look forward. We learn from it, and it won't happen again. So,
yep. Well, being a visionary, I like to look forward. I think that's an important piece of creating plans, working backwards from your goals, the million at-risk youth, right? Those things are important. But at the end of the day, all we have is right now, right? This moment that you and I get to share with everybody that's watching here live. This is a moment and an opportunity for us to give our 100% best. And if I give my absolute best here, then that goal that I have, and the reason why I said yes to this, right, is gonna impact that goal. A parent's gonna hear this that has a creative child, and they're gonna be like, I want to surround them with people like Adrian, right? So this is the best that I can possibly give, is just to give my whole heart, to be transparent, to be vulnerable, to be open, and to be as authentic as I possibly can. That's all I can do. That's the only true power and thing I have control over right now.
Yeah, I love that. And I think another great thing you said and shared was staying away from the things that are not aligning with your goals, right? And saying no. And that's something that I was like you. I'm very easy. I like to say yes. I don't like this to, rub people the wrong way. I like to just be like, yeah, what do you need? I'll do it. I don't like confrontation.
You want to help people. Yeah.
I don't like confrontation, but that's not a good place to be sometimes. And you can get taken advantage of very easily, or
that's right,
waste a lot of time with the wrong people or friends or whatever. And so, and even with clients. So I will say that's something that we've had a big change. I have personally in the last couple of years, where just it's easier to say, no, you're not a good fit for us. Let me call someone else that will work with you. Or this looks like a toxic client or an employee. We have to be 100% yes on hiring anybody. And just like with a client too. So, and just talking about the business side of things,
that's exactly right.
You have to be all in, and makes it a lot easier to say no when you kind of commit to that and say, and that's with anything. So whether it's friends or people you hang out with, or things you're going to do on the weekend or not going to do, it's a lot easier to say no when you say, hey, that doesn't align with what I want to do.
That's right. Well, and I just went to a business retreat in San Diego. I just got back day before yesterday. And we were talking about all these different things, and iron sharpens iron, and having conversations like this. And I brought up the fact that people need to get clear about their why. Why are you doing what you're doing? What gets you out of bed every day? Some people are just getting out of bed every day to just pay their mortgage. That is not ever going to build a future. What is the outcome? What does that look like for you in 5 years of just you get out of bed to pay your mortgage? There's a reason why people pass away on Mondays between 8 and 9 a.m. It's because they're going to their work week, right? And all they're looking forward to is the weekends. And so I think that that's no way to live, and you got to get clear about your why. And I think until you find that is your only purpose. Everything, that is your first goal. Like my million at-risk youth, your goal is to find your why. Everything, how many books you have to read, how many mentors you have to hire, how many coaches you have to find, how many counseling sessions you have to do. You have to do everything in your power to find your why and to find your purpose and passion in life. And my personal belief, and everybody's got to have their own beliefs, and I don't believe you have to believe what I believe to belong. But at the same time, why I found my why was because I wasn't looking anywhere but up. And that's why I say in my videos, keep looking up. Is because when I started focusing my attention on my faith and who my creator was, and really diving deep on that, he's the one that revealed that to me, and not directly one-on-one. I've had a couple of those moments in my life where I've gotten a word, but it was through a friend of mine who was the conduit for that message. And he did it in a way that was so impactful. I was sitting in a restaurant with him, just thinking I was hanging out with a new friend of mine from church. And all of a sudden he asks me this series of questions. He calls 1, 3, 5, 7. Give me one word. Give me 3 words. Give me 5 words. And he read it back to me. And I said, well, it sounds like you want to help at-risk youth and restore broken families. And I just started bawling in the restaurant, dude. It was unreal. It was like he just like did something to my heart, man. And it was just like, I knew in that moment, oh my gosh, I just literally realized why I was put on this earth through this conversation. And so it comes in the most unlikely, when you least expect it, those revelations happen, those aha moments. And ever since then, it's completely changed the trajectory. Everything I do, from going to youth ministry camps and watching kids fall out in the Holy Spirit, to, you know, volunteering at the local youth center here that I have in town, to bringing in interns. I mean, it's creating a huge effect, and getting 11-year-old kids to comment on my YouTube channel. I mean, I dumped $100,000 into YouTube last year in video production and manual time and hours and all that. And I got 10, 11, 12-year-old kids messaging me, if I ever become successful, it's because of your videos, right? That could not have happened if I hadn't have said yes to that meeting with him, with my friend Brandon. And so things like that, you just got to be open-minded to those opportunities. And when they come, you got to be ready to seize them.
100%. I think most people, if you ask them, why are you doing what you're doing, or what's your end goal, what's your purpose, most people don't have really, a good response. They don't know. Well, I hope to retire at some point and I'll pay the house off, or, you know, they got like more goals are like that. Like, I just want to be a life a little bit easier at some point.
Right.
That's kind of, you know, what I hear. So
retire. Yeah. Why would I want to retire? If you love what you do, retire. Are you kidding me? The people that retire pass away within 2 years. Like, no, thanks. I'm good. I want to work till my last breath. I hope I'm helping somebody, speaking life over somebody, praying for somebody, feeding somebody, teaching somebody, speaking on stage. I mean, I don't know when my time is coming, but when that moment does, I know it's going to be me giving my absolute best to somebody else.
Yeah, not sitting on a couch watching football.
Yeah, or sleeping in my bed, you know, for the last 6 months because I retired and I'm just lounging around doing nothing with my life. Like, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't see an end in sight as far as getting up and moving. I'm like, man, I can't stop.
That's right.
My wife hates it half the time. Like on a Sunday or Saturday, it's like, I'm like, whoa. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I gotta be doing something. I just can't sit here.
Yeah, 10:30 at night. My wife's
down.
Like, do you ever stop? Like, how does your brain do this at 10:30 at night? You've been going since 7 this morning. And I'm like, because it's passion. When you find something that you know is your calling, your purpose, your mission in life, why would you want to stop? Why would you want to slow down for anything? You know, and that's the hard thing, is learning the rhythms of that. Like, I can't sacrifice my relationship and my marriage and my quality time with my daughter for that. But I need to build my life around my business, around my life, not my life around my business, right? And so that's what I've gotten a lot better at in the last couple of years, is really trying to craft my business to fit the life that I want. And the life that I want is to impact people and to be a good husband and to be the greatest dad I could possibly be. That's my business is built around that, not the other way around. Well, if I work and make $1 million, then I could be home with my kids. No, just be home with your kids and still make the $1 million. It doesn't have to be this and then I'll be happy, or and then I'll be a good dad, or and then I'll be a good husband. You won't have a marriage to come back to. You won't have kids to come back to if you take that approach.
100%, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Great messages there. Anything else you want to share? I do have to jump off here soon.
No, that's great.
Best way to connect with you. I know I'll put up your website to your company.
Thank you.
I'm sure there's ways to connect with you off the website.
Yeah, definitely. We're highly creative. That's the thing that separates us, is we do a lot of motion design, videos, you know, content, ton of content creation. And then my big thing for 15 years has been creating brands. I have a branding framework I call the $1 Million Branding Blueprint that I take people through. So if someone's really lacking in clarity, I have a process and specific questions that I ask to get to the heart of who they are, to help them find that purpose, find that mission, find that why. So that's one of the big things. But if you have a kid that's young, or if you're a creative, you're a designer, web designer, motion designer, and you're sick and tired of making $30,000, $40,000 a year, and you know that you have more potential than that, you can easily make 6 figures in that field. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm almost at the 7-figure mark right now. So for the year, right? So it's not an if, it's just a when, and you do got to take action. So that would be the other thing, is if they're creative and they want to go deeper, Instagraphics, you just go to instagraphics.com. That's my other company that I'm building, and it'll lead you right to our Facebook community that we have. And I'm very, very picky about who I let. If they don't answer all the questions to the group, I do not let them in. There's never a situation where I let somebody in when they don't answer all the questions.
I love it. Amazing. And I checked you guys out and your agency too, and you guys look like you do amazing work.
Thank you, bro.
So, well, yeah, I love what you're doing, man. And I want to stay connected, of course. And
absolutely.
I'm really part of the Facebook group for $1 Billion Brotherhood.
Oh, perfect. That's probably how we hooked up then.
I think that's how we connected. So I'll see you there for sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we'll be sharing this. We'll be putting this out everywhere. I'll be on the podcast here soon. Cool. Anyone watching, stay tuned. Adrian, will have him on the podcast here soon. Be out on all platforms. And
thanks for
let's stay in touch, man. I want to learn more. Send me those links as well personally, and I'll see what I can do.
Awesome.
Obviously, we come a lot of creatives come through my pipeline as well. Even my son, who's 9, he's like, "Oh, I'm working for you."
Perfect.
So
there we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this. Thanks for having this platform to be able to share this, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, man. Amazing story. Talk to you soon.
God bless.